There's a story in the Bible about a man named Job. He had it all: wealth, family, success. But when trouble came, the people who once stood by him started disappearing. Friends who praised him in good times suddenly had nothing encouraging to say. They doubted him. They turned their backs on him. Maybe you've been there. You thought someone had your back, but the moment things got tough, they were nowhere to be found. You helped them when they were down, but when you needed a hand, they were too busy. It's a painful reality, but it's also a necessary lesson. Not everyone who walks with you is truly for you. Some people are in your life only for a season, for what they can take. They celebrate your success, but it's not because they love you. It's because they love the benefits that come with being around you. But when those benefits fade, so do they. And that's okay. God will allow certain people to walk away because He doesn't want them to be part of your next chapter. Stop chasing after those who were never meant to stay. You don't need their approval, their validation, or their friendship to step into your destiny. Yes, there will be moments of loneliness, but remember this: you are never truly alone. When people leave, God remains. When others fail you, He never will. He is your rock, your constant, your true friend. So don't be discouraged if people walk away. Let them go, because where God is taking you, not everyone can come. There are times in life when we assume that the people around us are genuinely supportive, that they are standing by us because they care about who we are. We build relationships, share our dreams, and expect that when difficulties arise, those same individuals will be there to offer encouragement, support, and strength. But what happens when life takes a turn, when challenges show up uninvited? That's when the reality of relationships begins to unfold. It's easy to think that just because someone smiles at you, they are for you. Just because they celebrate your achievements, compliment your hard work, or share moments of laughter doesn't necessarily mean their heart is aligned with yours. Some individuals are present in your life not because they are invested in your well-being, but because they are benefiting from your presence in some way. Think about a tree in full bloom. When the sun is shining and the weather is favorable, the branches are filled with birds, enjoying the shelter and shade. But the moment the season changes, when the wind begins to blow and the rain starts to fall, those same birds that once seemed so settled quickly take flight. They were never attached to the tree. They were only there as long as it served their needs. In life, there are people who enjoy being connected to you because of what you bring to the table. Maybe it's your kindness, your influence, or the opportunities that open up when they are around you. As long as everything is going well, they remain close. But when difficulties come, when challenges arise, their true nature is revealed. They distance themselves, their support fades, and in some cases, they even begin to criticize or question you. This can be one of the hardest lessons to learn because we naturally want to believe the best about those around us. We want to trust that friendships and relationships are built on a foundation of sincerity. But life has a way of revealing who is truly aligned with you and who is only there for convenience. It's important to recognize that not everyone who walks with you is meant to stay. Some people are temporary, placed in your life for a short time to play a role, and once their part is complete, they move on. It doesn't mean you did something wrong. It doesn't mean you should carry resentment or bitterness. It simply means they were not assigned to your future. There are moments when separation is a blessing in disguise. If some people stayed longer than they should, they might hinder your progress rather than help it. Their presence could become a distraction or even an obstacle. Sometimes what looks like rejection is actually protection. What seems like abandonment is actually a divine redirection. Look back at certain moments in your life when people distanced themselves or situations changed unexpectedly. At the time, it may have felt like a loss, but later you realized it was a necessary shift. It opened the door for better relationships, stronger connections, and a clearer understanding of who genuinely supports you. When you go through challenges, the individuals who truly care about you will remain. They may not have all the answers. They may not always know what to say, but their presence will be consistent. They won't disappear the moment things get hard. They won't turn their back when you're struggling. Instead, they will stand firm, encouraging you through the storm. There's a story about a farmer who had a field filled with both wheat and weeds. The wheat represented the good, and the weeds represented what was unnecessary. If the farmer tried to pull up the weeds too soon, it could damage the wheat, so he had to wait for the right season. When the harvest time came, it became clear which was which, and the separation naturally happened. Life works in a similar way. Time will reveal what is genuine. Seasons will expose what is temporary. The people who are meant to be in your life will remain, while those who are only there for personal gain will eventually fade away. Instead of feeling hurt when individuals walk away, see it as clarity. See it as a way to move forward without unnecessary baggage. You don't have to chase anyone. You don't have to prove your worth. Those who are meant to walk with you will do so willingly, without condition. It's also important to not allow past experiences to make you skeptical of everyone. Not every person you meet has hidden motives. Not every relationship is built on self-interest. There are people who will genuinely love and support you, but you must learn to discern the difference. Pay attention to how people respond in different situations. Are they only present when everything is good? Do they distance themselves when you need them the most? Do they celebrate you only when it benefits them? These are important questions to consider. The journey of life is too important to be weighed down by the wrong connections. You have a purpose to fulfill, and sometimes that means walking away from relationships that do not align with where you are going. It means being at peace with the fact that some individuals were never meant to stay. At the end of the day, what matters most is who remains when all the distractions fade. The ones who show up not just in the moments of celebration, but also in the seasons of struggle. Those are the people you can count on. And even if you find yourself in a moment where no one seems to be standing with you, remember that there is one who has never left and never will. And when you embrace this truth, you free yourself from the need to please, to chase after approval, or to hold on to relationships that no longer serve you. Instead, you walk forward with confidence, knowing that the right people will be there when you need them, and those who are not meant to stay will naturally fade away. Life has a way of revealing the true nature of those around us. When everything is going well, when success is evident, and when there are no challenges in sight, it can feel like the people around you are genuinely there for you. They celebrate you, speak highly of you, and seem eager to be by your side. However, when difficulties arise, when setbacks occur, and when circumstances become uncertain, that is when the reality of relationships begins to show itself. It is easy for someone to say they support you when there is no cost attached. It is easy for them to be present when there is something to gain, whether it be recognition, personal benefit, or a connection that serves their own needs. But when situations shift, when life becomes complicated, when the road ahead is filled with obstacles, that is when the people who were only there for convenience begin to step away. In every journey, there comes a time when circumstances become a test, not only of personal strength, but also of the relationships that surround you. Difficult moments act as a filter, removing what is insincere and exposing what is genuine. Some individuals who once seemed dependable begin to make excuses. They become distant, less engaged, and suddenly too busy to be present. Their enthusiasm fades, their words become vague, and their energy shifts. It is not always intentional, but it is a reflection of where their priorities truly lie. It can be disappointing to realize that people you once trusted, individuals who you assumed would be with you no matter what, begin to withdraw the moment things stop being easy. But this is not something to be bitter about. It is simply an important revelation. When life is smooth, it is difficult to tell the difference between those who are truly committed and those who are just enjoying the benefits of being associated with you. But when challenges arise, when uncertainty takes center stage, the distinction becomes clear. A moment of hardship does not just test your personal endurance. It also serves as a mirror that reflects the depth of the connections in your life. The ones who remain, who stand firm, even when things get difficult, are the ones whose presence is genuine. They may not always have the right words to say. They may not always know how to help, but their commitment does not waver. They show up, they listen, they offer what they can, not because they are getting something in return, but because they truly care. On the other hand, there are those who quietly disappear when circumstances shift. They may not make a direct exit, but their involvement in your life starts to diminish. The connection that once seemed solid begins to weaken. Perhaps they were only there when things were comfortable, when the relationship served a specific purpose, or when they benefited from the association. When those advantages fade, so does their willingness to remain. This realization, while difficult, is ultimately freeing. It removes unnecessary burdens and allows for clarity. Instead of being surrounded by people who are there only for convenience, you begin to see the relationships that are built on sincerity. It is better to know the truth than to live under an illusion. It is better to have a few genuine connections than a crowd of temporary ones. When moments of difficulty arrive, they do more than just test personal resilience. They create a defining moment in relationships. Some individuals will rise to the occasion, standing firm in support, while others will quietly exit. And that is okay. Not everyone is meant to walk the entire journey with you. Some were only meant to be part of a specific season. Instead of mourning those who step away, it is important to appreciate the ones who stay. They are the ones who add value, who bring encouragement, who offer support, even when there is nothing in it for them. Their presence is not dependent on circumstances. They do not shift their loyalty based on what they gain. These are the people who deserve your energy, your trust, and your time. It is easy to become disheartened when people show their true colors in difficult times. It can feel like a loss, like a betrayal, or like an unfair reality. But in truth, it is a necessary part of growth. Knowing who is truly aligned with you allows you to move forward with confidence. It removes uncertainty and clears the path for relationships that are built on authenticity. Rather than holding on to disappointment, it is better to embrace the clarity that comes with difficult moments. Every challenge, every unexpected turn, every season of uncertainty plays a role in refining the connections in your life. It is not about pushing people away or being suspicious of those around you. It is about recognizing that time and circumstances naturally reveal what is genuine. Sometimes what feels like a painful realization is actually a blessing in disguise. If some individuals had stayed longer than they were meant to, they might have hindered rather than helped. If certain relationships had continued, they might have distracted from the greater purpose ahead. The absence of some people is not a loss, it is an adjustment, making room for those who truly belong. When looking back, many realize that the people who left during difficult times were never fully present to begin with. Their departure was not sudden, it was simply the final confirmation of what had already been there. And in that realization comes freedom. The freedom to invest in the right people, to build relationships with those who are truly committed, and to move forward without unnecessary weight. Life will continue to bring both challenges and victories. There will be moments of ease and moments of struggle, but through it all, there is an opportunity to see with greater clarity. There is an opportunity to appreciate the relationships that remain, the individuals who stand by your side regardless of circumstances. The key is not to hold on to disappointment, but to embrace the understanding that not everyone is meant to walk the entire journey with you. And that is perfectly okay. Those who are meant to stay will stay, not because they have to, but because they choose to. Because their presence is rooted in something real, something unshaken by circumstances. Life is constantly changing. People come and go, circumstances shift, and what once seemed certain can suddenly feel unpredictable. There are moments when the people we rely on, the ones we assume will always be there, suddenly distance themselves. The relationships that felt strong begin to weaken. and support that once seemed unwavering begins to fade. It can be discouraging to watch individuals step away, to experience the reality that not everyone who enters your life is meant to stay. In times of uncertainty, it is easy to feel alone, as if no one truly understands what you are going through. When difficulties arise, it can feel as though support is nowhere to be found, as though the very people who once cheered for you have now fallen silent. Moments like these can leave you questioning everything, wondering who is truly with you and whether you can rely on anyone at all. But while people may come and go, there is one presence that never wavers. When others walk away, when relationships shift, when connections fade, there remains a source of strength that is constant. It does not change based on circumstances. It does not weaken in difficult times, and it does not disappear when challenges arise. This presence remains steady, unwavering, and ever present. It is natural to seek support from those around you. We look for encouragement, for understanding, for reassurance that we are not alone. And while relationships can be a blessing, they are not always dependable. People have their own struggles, their own distractions, their own limitations. Even those with the best intentions may not always be available. They may not always understand what you are facing, and they may not always have the words to comfort you. There will be moments in life when you feel isolated, when it seems as though no one truly sees what you are going through. But those moments are not an indication that you have been abandoned. They are not a sign that you are forgotten or overlooked. Instead, they are opportunities to recognize where true strength comes from. If every person always remained, if every relationship was always reliable, it would be easy to place all of your confidence in them. It would be tempting to believe that human connections are enough, that the people around you are the foundation on which your strength is built. But life has a way of showing that no matter how deep a connection may seem, no matter how close someone may appear, they are still human. They are still subject to their own struggles, their own limitations, their own shifting emotions. Instead of feeling defeated when relationships change, see it as an invitation to trust something greater. See it as a reminder that no matter who steps away, there is still a source of guidance that will never leave. The people in your life may change, but there is a presence that remains unshaken. When others disappear, this presence stays. When circumstances shift, it remains steady. It is not based on convenience, not tied to situations, and not influenced by the ups and downs of life. Think back to times when you felt lost, when uncertainty surrounded you, when it seemed like no one was there to offer the support you needed. Yet even in those moments, you found strength. Even when people walked away, you continued forward. Even when encouragement was missing, something inside of you kept pushing you to keep going. That was not by accident. That was not mere coincidence. There is something far greater sustaining you, guiding you, and carrying you through every season. The absence of people does not mean the absence of support. The shifting of relationships does not mean you are left to figure everything out on your own. There is something greater holding you together, something that is not dependent on human loyalty or external validation. There is a strength that does not waver, a presence that does not fade, a support that does not leave when times get hard. When you understand this, you stop being shaken by who stays and who leaves. You stop being dependent on whether people approve of you, whether they stand by you, whether they are present in every moment. Instead, you begin to realize that your foundation is unshakable, that your support is never dependent on human relationships. This understanding brings peace. It allows you to walk with confidence, knowing that no matter what happens, you are not alone. You may face challenges, you may experience moments of difficulty, but you are never without guidance, never without strength, never without a presence that is constant. So instead of feeling discouraged when people walk away, shift your focus. Instead of questioning why certain relationships change, remind yourself of what remains unchanged. You are not forgotten. You are not alone. There is a foundation beneath you that will never break, a support around you that will never fail, a presence within you that will never leave. It is this truth that allows you to stand firm no matter what life brings. It is this reality that gives you confidence even in the face of uncertainty. People may come and go, but what sustains you is eternal. And when you fully embrace this, you will no longer fear the absence of people because you will know that you are never truly alone. Life is a journey filled with changes, transitions, and moments that reveal the true nature of the relationships around you. It is easy to assume that the people who are closest to you will remain by your side, no matter what happens. When times are good, when everything is working in your favor, there is no shortage of people who seem to celebrate you, encourage you, and want to be part of your life. But when things become difficult, when adversity shows up, when circumstances shift, that is when the reality of those relationships is truly tested. There are moments in life when you look around and realize that some of the people you thought would always be there are suddenly absent. The ones who once cheered for you, who once spoke highly of you, who once wanted to be close to you, seem distant. Their energy has changed, their enthusiasm has faded, and their involvement in your life has diminished. This can be a difficult realization, especially when you have invested time, trust, and loyalty into those connections. But while it may feel disappointing, it is also a necessary revelation. Not everyone is meant to walk the entire journey with you. Some people were only assigned to a specific chapter, a temporary season, a short-term purpose. And when that purpose has been fulfilled, they naturally drift away. It does not mean that you did something wrong. It does not mean that you are not worthy of support. It simply means that certain relationships were never meant to last forever. It is important to understand that when people leave, it is often for a reason. Sometimes their presence in your life was holding you back rather than helping you move forward. Sometimes their departure is necessary for your growth. If they had remained, they might have limited your potential, influenced your decisions in the wrong direction, or kept you attached to a version of yourself that you have outgrown. Seasons change. And with them, the people in your life will change as well. This is not something to fear, but something to embrace. Every person who enters your life plays a role. Some bring lessons, some bring encouragement, some bring challenges that force you to grow, and some bring temporary companionship. But not everyone is meant to stay permanently. It is easy to feel hurt when someone you trusted suddenly distances themselves. It is natural to wonder why they walked away, to question whether you could have done something differently to make them stay. But instead of seeing their absence as a loss, consider it a redirection. Some people leave because they were not meant to continue with you into the next phase of your journey. They were part of a chapter, not the entire story. One of the greatest freedoms in life comes when you no longer hold on to relationships that have expired. When you stop chasing people who have already chosen to walk away, you make room for new relationships that align with where you are going. You allow yourself to connect with individuals who truly support you, who see your value, and who choose to remain, not out of convenience, but out of genuine commitment. This is not about closing yourself off to relationships or becoming distant from people. It is about recognizing the natural flow of life and understanding that not everyone who starts the journey with you is meant to finish it with you. Some people come into your life for a reason, but when their purpose has been fulfilled, they move on, and that is okay. Rather than holding on to the past, rather than mourning the departure of those who have left, focus on what remains. Focus on the people who continue to show up, who stand by you through every season, who support you even when there is nothing for them to gain. These are the relationships that matter. These are the people who are meant to walk with you into the future. It is also important to recognize that just as others have left your life, there may be times when you need to step away from certain relationships as well. Growth requires change, and sometimes that means letting go of connections that no longer align with your purpose. Holding on to relationships out of familiarity or fear of loneliness can prevent you from stepping into what is truly meant for you. Letting go is not always easy, but it is necessary. When you release relationships that have run their course, you open yourself up to new opportunities, new experiences, and new connections that are in alignment with your destiny. The people who are meant to stay will stay. The ones who are truly for you will not need to be chased. They will walk beside you because they choose to, not because they feel obligated to. Instead of focusing on who has left, shift your attention to what is ahead. There are still people who will support you, who will believe in you, who will stand by you no matter what. And even when it feels like no one is there, you are never truly alone. There is always a source of strength guiding you, sustaining you, and preparing you for what is to come. Life is too short to hold on to relationships that are no longer meant to be. Release what is no longer serving you. Embrace the changes and trust that the right people will always find their way into your life. Every ending is a new beginning, and every departure makes room for something greater. The journey ahead is filled with new connections, new opportunities, and new relationships that will bring value to your life in ways you never imagined. Keep moving forward, knowing that what is meant for you will never pass you by. Life is a journey filled with moments of joy, success, challenges, and uncertainty. Along the way, people enter our lives, some staying for a long time, while others only remain for a short season. It is easy to assume that those who walk with us today will always be there tomorrow, that their presence is a guarantee. But as time passes, as circumstances shift, and as life unfolds, we begin to see the reality that not every person is meant to remain by our side. It can be a difficult realization to accept. When you have shared experiences, laughter, victories, and even struggles with someone, it is natural to expect that they will continue to be part of your journey. You assume that loyalty is mutual, that commitment is unbreakable, that connection is permanent, but life has a way of revealing the truth. As seasons change, so do people. As challenges arise, so does the reality of who is genuinely there for you. There are moments in life when you look around and realize that the crowd that once surrounded you has grown smaller. The people who once stood by your side had drifted away. The ones who once promised to always be there are now nowhere to be found. It is in these moments that you come to understand a powerful truth. Not everyone was meant to walk the entire journey with you. This realization is not meant to bring disappointment, but clarity. It is a necessary understanding that allows you to let go of unrealistic expectations and move forward with a deeper awareness. People are not always as committed as they appear. Some are only present for the good times, for the benefits, for the convenience of being connected to you. But when those advantages fade, when challenges arise, when life no longer looks as easy as it once did, they begin to step away. Instead of being hurt by their absence, see it as a gift. When people leave, when relationships fade, when connections weaken, it is simply life making room for something greater. It is clearing out what is no longer necessary so that you can be surrounded by what is truly meant for you. There is no need to chase after those who've walked away. There is no need to hold on to people who have already let go of you. What is meant to remain will always stay, and what is meant to leave will always find a way out. It is easy to think that when someone distances themselves, it is a reflection of something you did wrong. You may question yourself, wondering if you should have done more, if you should have changed, if you should have tried harder to keep them in your life. But the truth is, their decision to leave has nothing to do with your worth. It is not an indication of your value or a measure of your importance. It is simply a shift that was bound to happen. Holding on to relationships that have run their course only brings unnecessary weight. It keeps you attached to something that no longer serves you. It prevents you from growing, from evolving, from stepping into the next season of your life with confidence. When someone decides to walk away, let them go. Do not beg them to stay. Do not try to convince them of your worth. Do not exhaust yourself chasing after someone who has already made their choice. When you understand this, you begin to move differently. You stop seeking validation from others. You stop depending on people for your sense of security. You stop expecting everyone to remain the same forever. Instead, you embrace the changes that come with life. You accept that not everyone will stay, and that is okay. The right people will always find a way to be part of your journey, not because they have to, but because they truly want to be. There is great freedom in releasing what no longer belongs in your life. It creates space for new connections, for meaningful relationships, for people who genuinely support and uplift you. It allows you to focus on what truly matters, rather than wasting energy on those who have already chosen a different path. Moving forward does not mean forgetting the past. It does not mean disregarding the experiences you shared with those who have left. It simply means accepting that their role in your story has come to an end. Every person who enters your life brings something with them, a lesson, a memory, an opportunity for growth. But not every person is meant to stay forever. Instead of dwelling on who is no longer present, focus on who remains. There are still people who value you, who appreciate you, who see your worth, even when things are not perfect. These are the relationships that deserve your energy. These are the connections that matter. Life has a way of guiding you toward the right people at the right time. When one door closes, another opens. When one relationship fades, a new one is formed. Trust that the people who are truly meant for you will never require you to beg for their presence. They will stand with you, not only in moments of success, but also in seasons of struggle. So if you find yourself in a season where people are walking away, do not be discouraged. Do not see it as a loss, but as a necessary transition. You are being prepared for something greater. You are being positioned for relationships that align with your purpose. You are being freed from connections that were never meant to last. Keep moving forward with confidence. Do not let the absence of some distract you from the presence of those who truly matter. What is meant for you will always find you, and the right people will always remain, not because of what they can gain, but because they truly belong in your life. Life is full of unexpected moments. Some bring joy, others bring challenges, and many reveal the true nature of the people around us. It is easy to assume that those who are close to us will remain by our side no matter what. We build relationships, invest in connections, and believe that loyalty is mutual. But as time goes on, we begin to see the reality of human nature. Not everyone who walks with you today will be there tomorrow. Not everyone who celebrates you in good times will stand by you in difficult times. It is a hard truth to accept, but an important one. The people who are closest to you may not always have your best interests at heart. Some are there for what they can gain, for the benefits that come with being connected to you. Others are only present because it is convenient, because the relationship serves their needs at the moment. But the moment things shift, the moment challenges arise, the moment they no longer have something to gain, they begin to disappear. You may have noticed that when you are succeeding, when things are going well, the people around you seem supportive. They celebrate with you, they encourage you, they make you feel valued. But when struggles come, when setbacks happen, when life takes an unexpected turn, some of those same people suddenly distance themselves. Their words of encouragement become silence. Their presence fades. Their support vanishes. It is in these moments that you come to understand the difference between those who are truly with you and those who are only with you for what they could gain. True loyalty is not tested in moments of success. It is tested in times of difficulty. It is easy for people to be present when everything is working in your favor. It is easy for them to stay when they are benefiting. But real commitment is proven when there is nothing to gain. When standing with you requires sacrifice. When being connected to you is no longer easy. Understanding this truth does not mean you become bitter or resentful. It does not mean you close yourself off to relationships. Instead, it gives you wisdom. It allows you to see people for who they truly are rather than who you hoped they would be. It teaches you not to place your full trust in those who have not shown consistency. It frees you from the disappointment of expecting people to be something they are not. There is strength in recognizing that not everyone is meant to walk with you through every season. Some people were only meant to be part of a specific chapter of your life. When their role is complete, they will naturally fade away. Holding on to them, trying to make them stay, only creates frustration and unnecessary disappointment. When someone chooses to leave, let them go. Their absence is not a reflection of your worth. It is simply an indication that their time in your life has come to an end. It is important to understand that just as people leave, new people will enter. Every ending creates space for a new beginning. When one door closes, another opens. When someone walks away, it makes room for someone else to step in, someone who is truly meant to be part of your journey. If you spend too much time mourning the loss of those who have left, you may miss the opportunity to embrace the people who are arriving. There is great peace in knowing that you do not have to chase relationships, you do not have to force connections, and you do not have to beg for loyalty. The right people will always be there, not because of what they can gain, but because they truly care. Their commitment is not based on convenience, but on genuine respect and appreciation. Instead of focusing on who is left, shift your attention to who remains. Pay attention to those who stand with you in both good times and bad. Notice the ones who support you, not just when it is easy, but when it is difficult. These are the relationships that deserve your time and energy. These are the people who truly matter. It is also important to recognize that just as others have left you, there may be times when you need to walk away from certain relationships as well. Growth requires change, and sometimes that means letting go of people who no longer align with where you are going. Holding on to relationships out of habit or fear of being alone can prevent you from stepping into what is truly meant for you. Letting go does not mean forgetting. It does not mean disregarding the good times or pretending the relationship never mattered. It simply means accepting that some connections are temporary. Every person you meet serves a purpose, whether it is to teach you, to challenge you, or to prepare you for what is ahead. But not everyone is meant to stay forever. When you fully embrace this, you stop feeling hurt when people walk away. You stop wasting energy trying to understand why they left. You stop blaming yourself for relationships that ended. Instead, you trust that everything is happening exactly as it should. The right people will stay, the wrong people will leave, and every change is leading you closer to where you are meant to be. Life is too short to hold on to relationships that no longer serve you. Release what is not meant to stay. Trust that what is truly for you will never require you to beg for attention, force a connection, or question where you stand. What is meant for you will always feel natural. It will flow effortlessly. It will bring peace, not confusion. So if you find yourself in a season where people are walking away, do not fight it. Do not chase after them. Do not try to hold on to something that is no longer meant to be. Instead, keep moving forward. Focus on your growth, your purpose, and the relationships that truly bring value to your life. What is ahead is far greater than what has been left behind. The best is still yet to come. Life has a way of revealing the truth about the people around us. It is easy to assume that those who celebrate us in moments of success will remain by our side through every season. But as time goes on, as circumstances shift, and as challenges arise, we begin to see that not everyone is as committed as they once appeared. Some people were only meant to be part of a chapter, not the entire story. Their presence was temporary, their loyalty conditional, their support dependent on what they could gain. This realization is not meant to bring disappointment, but clarity. It is a gift that allows you to release what no longer serves you and embrace what is truly meant for you. When people walk away, when relationships fade, when connections weaken, it is not a loss. It is life clearing space for something better. The right people will never require you to beg for their attention, force a connection, or prove your worth. They will choose to stand with you, not because of what they can gain, but because they truly value you. Instead of focusing on who has left, shift your attention to who remains. The people who are still by your side, who support you through every season, who see your worth even in difficult times. These are the relationships that deserve your energy. And even when it feels like no one is there, remember that you are never truly alone. There is a greater plan for your life, a greater purpose unfolding, and every person who exits your life is making room for what is coming next. So let go of what was, embrace what is, and trust in what is to come. Do not mourn the absence of those who were never meant to stay. Do not chase after relationships that have expired. Instead, move forward with confidence, knowing that what is ahead is greater than what has been left behind. Life is leading you toward new opportunities, new connections, and new relationships that align with your destiny. The best is still yet to come.